Today I'm here with Keith Dalton. Keith, first of all, I want to thank you for opening up your space, this incredible space. I got chills just standing here in the middle of this, what you've created, and I just want to grab a couple minutes with you.
Sure, no problem.
Share some history, a little bit about yourself and where we are, what we're looking at, and maybe what spawned this whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. So you're looking at a 100-acre farm here, roughly 30 acres of sunflowers, about 1 million plants planted this year.
1 million?
Yep, 1 million sunflower seeds. They're planted in.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, and so we don't do it by hand. We don't take and
Right.
my back would be
Right.
broke at my age, right? If we had to go ahead and plant everybody by hand,
Yeah.
we use a planter to go ahead and take and plant the seeds, and then we plant them over the course of 3 to 4 weeks, and then so that people can come out here and enjoy them. They're not for commercial production. We don't cut them and ship them to florists or anything like that. It's mainly for it's for all of our customers that come in to be able to view the several varieties of sunflowers that we have here.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful, just looking around. What was your, like, bubble up inside to say, let's do this? Like, was there something that happened?
Well, it goes back till when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
I grew up on this farm, had grandparents on property. My mom's side of the family, they had a house here, and so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents on property, and as a kid getting tied to the property, feeling a real pride in the property, and I think at about 9 years old I asked my grandmother if she would give me the property, and she said, "I love you dearly because you're my favorite grandson, but your two aunts would be upset if I did that." And so it really started then, as far as me wanting to have the farm for my own, and we weren't able to realize that until 2012. I started buying back property from some of the other family members, and then 2 sets of family members, and then the main farmhouse in 5.74 acres was purchased from another individual that had bought the house in that 5.74 acres from my father. In that same year of 2018, I was able to purchase the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then you've got a mortgage, so
Right.
how are we gonna make money and pay that off?
Right.
And myself and my business partner Chris came up with the idea to do tulips, and then because of when those are planted in the time of year that we came up with the idea,
Mm-hmm.
it made more sense to go ahead and get started with sunflowers. We did that the fall of 2018.
Just a few years ago, you started that.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love how you kind of you had to piece it back together, because it was parceled out in different ways.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when it comes to family, it wasn't where anybody could say, any of the other family, there are 12 other family members.
Yeah.
They couldn't say, well, this is my portion of the pie. It's a huge pie that you can't eat because nobody can decide which is theirs.
Right.
And so it was a undivided interest. So I bought out their portions, which then allowed us to go ahead and be able to decide
Yeah,
to do
and
this.
what a great result. Now, I also learned you traced it back to the 1600s, but you could definitively say 1790 in your
Correct.
family.
Yep. So it's called Dalton Farms, but my mom's side of the family, their last name is Shoemaker, and this had always been known as the Shoemaker Farm.
Uh-huh.
And the Shoemakers have been in this area since 1638. They're one of
Wow.
the first 13 founding families of Swedesboro,
Wow.
along with like the Sweetens, the Lippincotts, and some others.
Wow.
And so I can trace their lineage back to this area, to that time, and was able to go through the Shoemaker Farm has a lineage book, and I was able to trace them back to this area
Wow, that's
and
great.
this parcel around here till 1790.
Good on you, man. So I want to ask you in closing, what's your favorite part about all this? Is there what's the, there's probably multiple, maybe you could share a couple.
So the having people that have never seen this before, or haven't been on a farm before, or maybe haven't seen sunflowers, like
as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So seeing the looks on people's faces, whether it was for sunflowers or tulips when they come out.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people that come out and go they're like, oh my God, they can't believe how it looks. And so to see that joy on people's faces is priceless, whether it's the sunflowers or the tulips. That's one. Two, this has been owned by some family member for a long time, and we didn't want to see it go into development. Because if you look around here, there's a lot of warehouses around here.
Yes.
We didn't want to see that happen. You know, a lot of the farmers in the area, and the way that when farmers do things, it comes to, they don't necessarily always have some kind of a retirement. Their retirement plan is, in essence, the ground. So I can understand why they've sold, because it's a lot of times with warehouses coming in, it's serious money.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a difficult decision for farmers and farm families to make, to decide to part with the farm. You look at, there was just an article recently about the Merino farm. They farmed 3,000 acres in Swedesboro, and they threw in the towel a year ago, and it had to do with competition in farming and everything that's going on. And more competition, not in farming as it is as competition from outside produce outside the country, and not being able to make it here with produce. It's upsetting, and so we didn't want to see that happen. We didn't want to see the farm disappear or become developed. So that's why we did this.
Yeah, and it's still the Garden State. You know, New Jersey's still the Garden State, and I love how you collaborate with other farms. You got produce here, you got local things you bring in, you got a great entertainment area for people that can actually enjoy it. So you have another, which I really enjoyed that you made it social and friendly and family oriented.
Well, it's one of those things, people want to come out and they want to have a good time. A lot of people don't see this on a daily basis. Myself and my business partner Chris Vierick take it for granted a lot of times that we grew up with this, and there's a lot of other people that didn't. So being able to share that with people that have never seen it before, people come out, they're respectful of the farm. We don't really have a trash issue here. You may have errant pieces of trash here and there, blow out of people's cars, but people are really respectful as far as putting items in trash cans and things like that. And that made me feel a lot better. When we first started this, it was one of my main concerns was that, you know, people were going to trash the farm, disrespect the farm and all that, and it hasn't happened. Most people are really respectful.
You're doing it the right way, and I guess every time you see the look on someone's face, you're reminded, you get that reminder of, wow, we got something special here. And it is, and I really commend you for doing it the way you're doing it. Like, it's really commendable to keep the integrity of your family and you know, and not making it over commercialized, and it becomes a special experience for anybody who visits. I mean, I got chills just being here and the way you're doing it. So I'm really excited about you opening it up. Is there anything that what's your favorite thing about the preparations, or anything that, like,
you know, it's like we liken it to Christmas, you know, the build up as far as getting everything ready. And then it was interesting, I woke up the day before opening, or the morning of opening. I was up at 3:15. And I think it's the same way when it was, you know, remember waking up in the middle of the night, or, you know, early morning for Christmas, same kind of thing. That anticipation of opening for the event. You know, it's always wondering, like with Christmas, you're wondering what's going to be in the presents, who's going to be there, that kind of thing. And here it's wondering, okay, are the people going to show up? Are we going to do well this year? Are the flowers going to do well? How's the weather going to affect us? Whether the weather affecting the plants, or people coming out, or what have it. So the one thing, this is always like what I'm doing is about being in the moment. Do you have moments where you're out here and you just kind of, like, can you remember like anything, like where the sun's just coming up or something like that? We had PHL 17 was here the other day, and they were here at like 6 a.m. when it's still dark. And they're waiting on the
sunrise.
They were waiting on Alex Butler, who is the the news person, and so you're waiting here, and as the sun comes up and the first light on these flowers is just spectacular. And then it'll be interesting, like different times during the day, you know, you're working, there's people here, you're trying to get stuff done, but there'll be occasions when you stop and you look at the backdrop of these flowers and the clouds yesterday, and it's just, there's some spectacular photos, and yes, they make spectacular photos, but there's something to be said about,
not, you know,
just you're correct. You're just sitting there looking at it, and wow, this is really. There's a lot of sky here. Like people talk about out west, there being a lot of sky. There's big sky here. Also, when you look at, you've got relatively flat ground. You've got a fair amount of sky. So when the clouds come in, it looks really cool. Yeah,
and yesterday, you're right, because I was checking it out. There was a big display. So I appreciate it. So, you know, what would you say somebody like has never done anything like this before?
I mean, come out. It's a great day. It's inexpensive. You know, looking at everything that's going on with inflation and everything else, this is an inexpensive thing to come out and do, especially if you're local within an hour of here.
Swedesboro, New Jersey.
Yeah, so it is. So it's funny.
South
The zip
Jersey.
code is 08085, which is Swedesboro. This is actually falls into Logan Township.
Right.
I do that because I go down and talk to the township, and they're like, "Oh, you guys always say Swedesboro." I said, "Well, the reason we do that is because otherwise, a lot of times on maps, people can't find it, but it's actually Logan Township."
Yeah, right. Okay.
But it's a good time. Come out. The flowers are gorgeous. Pictures are great. It's great to come out with your kids and enjoy nature and be
Family
outside.
day. Yes.
We have a lot of people that just yesterday along the edges where there's shade, camping out, throwing out a blanket. Same thing down at the beach.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
great.
we've got a
You
beach
got a
on
la-
property.
that's right, you
We've got a
got a
lake
lake.
on property.
Yeah.
So I mean, the kids are playing in the sand. They're not on electronics.
beautiful.
Yes, we need them for things like this, but the kids come out here and they're playing in the dirt, which
Yeah.
I did a lot as a kid, and a lot of the parents love to see the kids off their electronics and out enjoying nature and playing in the
Just
dirt.
looking at a tree and
Yeah.
right.
Playing in the dirt.
Or
So,
sunflower. Yeah, that's great. That's really great. No, again, I appreciate it. I just want to encourage people to come down, and I like the fact that you do allow people to take. They can buy a sunflower.
correct. So there's an admission to the farm, and it
Mhm.
varies from year to year. But ballpark, it's $12 plus taxes and fees. We have everybody buy their tickets online, and then this year sunflowers 10 or more, they're $1 a piece. If you buy less than 10, they're $2 a piece.
Okay.
But the address, and I know you need this, it's 660 Oak Grove Road in Logan Township / Swedesboro, New Jersey.
Yeah.
But we have people come from all over.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Up and down the seaboard, the
Yeah.
East
It's
Coast.
something to see.
that come out
Yeah,
here.
you can come from anywhere and see it because it's really something to see. I really thank
Thanks
you,
a
man,
lot.
for giving me the time. I really
Appreciate you coming out,
Yep.
and have a good day.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll check out the lake later.
Perfect. I'll be around.
Okay.
All my memories gather round her, my love's lady, stranger to the world. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky, missed a taste of moonshine, camera in my eye. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia.